right, I want to thank everyone for coming today for our monthly masterclass. I want to remind everyone that this happens the fourth Thursday of every single month at 1 o'clock. And if you have the link is the same every single time. And if you've signed up, you will also be reminded 2 hours before. So a lot of you probably got the reminder, but here's something really special. I'm the speaker next month. So I want you all to show up. And I am talking on making soul-centered choices. This could be business or personal, but a lot of times people have been asking me, how do I know that I'm in my purpose? How do I know that I'm making good choices that feel good and feel authentic? So that's what we're going to talk about, the difference between your ego and your soul. So mark your calendars to join me next month. And it's going to be on the 30th next month, because the fourth Thursday is actually Thanksgiving. So it'll be on the 30th, and it's actually the day before I fly to Italy. So join me then. In the chat, tell me where you're joining us from, just so I have an idea. And then we are going to get started. We have an amazing speaker today, Yonatan. Yay, from Fearless Communicators out of New York City. He's going to tell you all about him and the work and the company. But I met them actually through one of our members. I think Christy Sullivan introduced us. And it was fabulous. This is going to be a little interactive. So I hope you guys can join us and put your cameras on and want to talk. So that's it. Yonatan, I'm going to spotlight you, and it's going to go over to you.
Oh, I got the spotlight. Fabulous. Good day, everyone. How are you? How are you? I'm just taking a second and seeing where everyone's coming in from. We're going to be in New York, New Hampshire, Portugal, New Jersey, Indiana. Fabulous. As Camille said, my name is Yonatan. Yonatan Gebeyehu is my full name. I use he, him pronouns, and I am a public speaking coach with Fearless Communicators. So I'm going to give you a little bit of a lay of the land of how our time is going to be together today. But before we do that, I like to go ahead and start with 3 acknowledgements that really land us in the space and, really honor our time together. So the first thing that we like to do at Fearless is do an acknowledgement of elder. We learned about this tradition in our facilitation in various cities in Australia, and we actually have a facilitator out there who centers this tradition. We want to acknowledge the elder and request permission of elders to begin. Now, I'm not here to call anybody an elder, right? There are various ways that you can locate eldership. It can be your age, and it can be years affiliated with this community, years affiliated with your own organization. So there are various ways that you can go ahead and look at it. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to request permission from the elder or elders to begin. And the way that you are going to affirm this is with this gesture. So at Fearless Communicators, we call this elevated sparkleation. This is an affirming gesture. It is also a gesture of sending love and positivity, and it is an applause in American Sign Language. So let's practice moving those fingers. I am going to sparklate the group, and I would love the group to sparkle me back. So I'm going to share a little bit of elevated sparklation with you. And can I see that work? Fabulous. Yes, we love to see it. Fantastic. Great. So I am going to make the request, and then the elder who feels called to will give us a little bit of sparklation. So, elder or elders, are we ready to begin? Work. Fabulous. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Fantastic. Thank you, elders. So the second thing that we do is a land acknowledgement. As a part of our global work at Fearless Communicators, one of the programs that we do is called Fearless Fire, where we help 6 thought leaders craft a TED-length talk in 6 days. It's like getting shot out of a cannon. Our founder was in Australia doing this work in 2017, and he had noticed that all of the events started with a land acknowledgement and was very moved by that tradition, and since then has brought it into all of our in-person and virtual gatherings. So I am going to do a land acknowledgement for where I'm standing currently in New York City, and I am going to put into the chat right here a website where you can type in your address, and it'll tell you the name of the indigenous tribe whose land you are standing on. So if you feel free to participate as well by putting where you are in the chat. So for myself, I am standing in the island of Manhattan in New York, and I am a guest on Muncie Lenape land. And I want to acknowledge ancestors and elders, past, present, and emerging. Again, I invite you to put where you're standing or sitting in the chat. The third and final acknowledgement I like to do before we begin is an acknowledgement of the current water that we are swimming in. So in this moment of history, it is important to name that we acknowledge the existence and prevalence of structural institutional racism, misogyny, ableism, ageism, racism, LGBTQ plus phobia, and anti-Semitism, and our personal and professional commitment to use our voices, our bodies, and our stories to dismantle those oppressive systems to ensure justice and equity for all. Can I get a little elevated sparkulation for that? Fabulous, fabulous. Okay, so as I said, my name is Yonatan, and I am coming to you live from New York City, and I am a public speaking coach at Fearless Communicators. Fearless Communicators is a diverse, inclusive public speaking coaching business. We work with individuals and teams on what to say and how to say it. Past individual clients have been US presidential candidates, several first ladies from African countries, industry leaders, entrepreneurs, and social activists. In the organizational landscape, we've worked with Tory Burch Foundation Fellows, the Bank of America, Merrill Lynch, Google, HBO, just to name a few. So we're going to begin our time together with a little bit of an icebreaker. And I am going to have you answer this question. In groups of 3, you are going to answer the question, what is your most embarrassing public speaking moment? I'm going to say it again. What is your most embarrassing public speaking moment? And I'm going to give you a little hint. There is no such thing as private speaking. All speaking is public, right? So it could be something at work. It could be something in your childhood. It could be something where you went on a date with somebody, right? But all speaking is public speaking. So what we're going to do is we're going to divide up into groups of 3, let's say, and we'll get some breakout rooms going, and you are going to share your name and your most embarrassing public speaking moment. And I'm going to put that in the chat just so that we have that here. And whenever you're ready, Camille, we can go ahead and shoot those rooms.
I was looking up my land.
It's important. It's important.
I think that's so interesting. I always knew, but I moved 3 weeks ago, so I wasn't so sure.
Oh, yeah.
And it seems to be the same tribe. Okay. Let me just make sure that we have you said 2 or 3 in each room?
Let's do 3 in each room.
Let's do 3. Okay, just let me recreate these a little smaller then.
And we can go ahead and make it 5 minutes.
Okay, and option, sorry. 5 minutes, 30 seconds. Okay, we're gonna open everyone's rooms.
Yes. Fantastic. I am going to stay in here, out here. Great.
Oh, that's interesting.
Great. Is it just us in here right now?
Yeah. For some reason, I put 2 in one room and 4 in another.
Yeah.
If I change them now, it's gonna
It'll be
messy. They'll figure it out.
One will be intimate and one will be a party.
Yeah.
It'll be fun.
All right. I'll look for that next time though. Well, if you do it next time.
Yeah, no worries. It's all good. There we go. For some reason, my Zoom got a little crazy. Oh, there it is. It like all of a sudden blew up and I couldn't. Whew.
Actually, let me pause this.
Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back. All right, I hope you guys had a good time sharing your moments with one another. I'm sure some trends were emerging around the kinds of moments that were happening. Now, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to share one of my biggest embarrassing public speaking moment. But before I do, I would love if I had one or two brave volunteers come on down and share their public speaking moment with the group. Yes, I see Heidi here. Come on down, Heidi.
Hello.
Let's give Heidi a little bit of elevated sparkleation. Work, Heidi.
Hello, thank you. So that moment?
Let's do it. Tell us your most, let me hear your full name and then go ahead and share with us your most embarrassing public speaking moment.
Well, I'm Heidi Roan. Hi. There is more than one to choose from. The one I selected was the one in college where we were asked to give a quick little talk, and I did. And my feedback from the professor afterward was that I really could have kept it even shorter, even more concise. And the strong implication was that I was boring them all to death.
Oh my gosh. I do not like this teacher.
No.
Bad teacher. Bad teacher. Oh my gosh. Well, let's give Heidi a little bit of elevated sparkleation. Thank you for sharing that, Heidi. And I want to say that feeling of feeling like you are not, or that you're taking up people's time, or that you are not allowed to talk, or that people don't want to hear what you have to say. I can imagine everyone on this Zoom call knows what that feels like. To feel like they are not allowed to take up the space to talk. If anybody else on the Zoom has felt that way, can I get another elevated sparkleation? Right, just to share that is a very, very common feeling. That is something that I have felt many times in my speaking journey. And also, I don't like that teacher. That teacher. Thank you, Heidi, for sharing. Can we get one other person who wants to be a little brave soul? I'm trying to see if I'm trying to scan through. Do I see anybody? Oh, is that a little? I might call on someone. Jill, I see you laughing. You want to share?
I was laughing because you were going to call on someone, but I didn't think it was going to be me, but I will share.
Yes. Hi, can you share your full name?
Oh, my full name is Jill Davenport.
Okay, so Jill, share with us your most embarrassing public speaking moments.
Okay, so what I shared with my group was, it was actually a public singing moment from school also. So I was in this holiday musical thing, and I got a solo, and I was so excited because I was like, oh, I'm gonna get to show off my singing finally. Like I was so my teacher during the rehearsals would always cue me when it was my time to come in. She would do this hand gesture, right? And when it came to the final performance, she didn't do it. And I missed my cue. And I tripped and my voice cracked and I missed part of the solo, and it was mortifying because I was like, oh, it's my time to shine. And it was like, just red, mortifying. And then afterwards, one of my classmates was like, great solo, Jill.
Oh my God. Okay, bad classmate.
Yeah, and teacher.
And bad teacher. We're seeing a lot of bad teacher.
Yeah.
Wait, first of all, Jill, let's give Jill a little bit of elevated sparkleation. Also, I want to acknowledge both for Jill and Heidi the idea that we sparklate for others, but we can also turn those hands and sparklate ourselves. So if you guys want to give yourself a little bit of a self-sparklation and just feel that. What's so crazy, Jill, is that my most embarrassing public speaking moment is also a singing moment. It is also a school singing moment. So I literally feel you. Yeah. I know this life. And bad teacher.
Right?
Bad teacher. Thank you so much for sharing.
You're welcome.
This is kismet that I called on you, because my story that I'm about to share is literally a very similar story. Okay, so I'm going to give myself a little bit of self-sparklation. I wouldn't mind if people gave me a little bit. There we go. I love it. I love it. Fabulous. Okay, so here is my most embarrassing public speaking moment. It's 2003, and I am crowned by my middle school to be the singer of the national anthem for our 8th grade graduation. To call it an honor is an understatement. I am walking around the hallways of Robert Frost Middle School in Rockville, Maryland with the respect I deserve. The song begins and I am crushing it, okay? I can't even hear anything over the sound of my mellifluous voice, but it is safe to say that there wasn't a dry eye in the house. And then the iconic bridge. I stand tall and I sing, and the rocket's red glare, and the rocket's red glare. I can tell by my gut and in my chest that something has gone wrong, but I don't know what it is, but I keep going like the brave soldier that I am. And then I start to hear some laughter in the audience, and I'm like, what are they laughing at? My voice is a gift. But I begin to shrink. And then I go outside into the hallway after the ceremony, and I'm noticing these kids are pointing at me. And I'm like, what are they pointing at? I am moving mountains with my voice. And I shrink even more. And then I get to the bus and people are straight up talking about me. This is ridiculous. It isn't until sweet Ethan Krause sits next to me on the bus and says, do you know what you did? You repeated a line. You repeated a line. I become nothing. The embarrassment zips through my body and my stomach turns into itself. And to this day, when I have anxiety and nerves around my speaking, I am brought back to that auditorium on that sunny day in Rockville. 76% of people suffer from speech anxiety. And at Fearless, we believe that everyone else is lying. Most people look at speaking as an intellectual exercise, but it is also a physical exercise, an emotional exercise, and for many people, a spiritual exercise. But that is not a part of the education around speaking. And when we don't honor the body before we speak, the body can betray you, right? Some people have shortness of breath. People even pass out. They black out. That is a betrayal of the body. Something to note about the facilitators at Fearless Communicators is that all of us, including our founder, Eduardo Placer, have BFAs and MFAs in acting from the top acting institutions in the country. And something that's really unique about our work is that a lot of the work we do around breath and body that we teach to our clients, both individuals and teams, is based in the physical practice of preparing to be on a stage. Something else that I want to note is that traditionally, we teach public speaking the same way we teach leadership, which centers the voice of the cis, straight, white man, which is not the global majority. It is not the global majority. Something that we're seeing a lot in our work is to be authentic. Show up authentically as yourself. But when people ask for authenticity, oftentimes what they're really asking for is conformity. So when we talk about authenticity, what we don't honor is the risk of that authenticity. Because what people often are wanting is not your authentic self. And that can get really confusing. Something that I feel really passionately about as my work as a public speaking coach is that I am not here to change anybody's voice. Your voice is a gift. What I'm here to do is help you build a stronger relationship between you and your most authentic voice. A lot of the work that we do, people think it's work around presentation, but what we call it is presensation. It's about the presence, showing up fully as your authentic self and letting others be in the witnessing of your presence. No matter how we support our clients, all of our work stands on 4 pillars of thought. Our communication is grounded in body, present in mind, leading from the heart, and speaking into the spirit of our shared humanity. The icebreaker that we've just played has done 2 things for us. The first thing that it's done, it's given us an opportunity to connect. The second thing that it's done is that it's brought the fear into the room. So now that we're feeling the fear, I'm going to share with you some quick public speaking hacks to confront that fear in the moment when you're feeling the fear. A quick thing about fear: people oftentimes think that when they are scared, the goal is to eliminate fear. And that is a misconception. Fear is a very useful emotion. It keeps us from sticking our fingers in the stovetop, from crossing the street when there's a car coming, right? Fear is a survival emotion. We are all here today partially because of fear. But fear can also be debilitating when it's driving the car. So it's not about fear without or being fearless. It is about fearing less, hence the name of our organization. So that being said, it is time for us to do a little bit of hacking. How do we feel about that? Can I get a little bit of this? Fabulous. So for the purposes of our workshop today, we're going to be focusing on the body. What we can do with our body to put ourselves in the best position to speak and to help ourselves when that fear creeps in. So for this, I ask you to be in a place where you can stand or move in a place that is comfortable for you and make a little bit of noise. So I'm going to give us a second to adjust the cameras, all that stuff. Fabulous, 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 fabulous. So I'm gonna do this a little bit so you can get a little bit more of me. Everyone can see me and hear me, okay? Great, perfect. So the first thing we're going to talk about is our breath. Our breath is at the center of our work. There is no voice without breath. So the first thing we want to do is prepare our breathing to speak. So I'm going to provide you with a posture, and I'm going to go from the bottom up. So you're going to have your feet about a hip's distance apart. If you don't know what that is, put your two fists together. That should be about the space that you need. Hack number one, you are going to have a slight bend in the knee. If there are any athletes here, this is also like a tip of being an athlete, is that there is a tendency to lock the knees when we speak. Everyone go ahead and feel what that feels like. Intentionally lock your knees, right? What happens when we lock the knees is we're actually stopping airflow of really hitting the entire body. And does anybody know what happens when we lock the knees? You can go off mute if you know. Does anybody know?
Pass out.
You pass out. Who said that?
Kara.
Kara, thank you. You pass out. And we don't want you guys passing out on a stage. So we keep a slight bend in the knee, right? That's going to help with airflow. And it's also going to keep your body activated because we're not talking from the neck up. We're talking from the skull down. Okay? Slight bend in the knee. Let's put one hand on the chest, one hand on the belly. It's an invitation now to close your eyes if you'd like, but you don't have to. And all we're going to do is we're going to breathe in through the nose and breathe out through the mouth. And really enjoy that feeling. Breathe in through the nose and breathe out through the mouth. So one more time, you breathe in through the nose and breathe out through the mouth. This brings us to our second hack. I'm going to ask you a question, and somebody, whoever feels compelled to, can go off mute to answer. Where do you breathe from?
Your diaphragm.
Your diaphragm. Roman. Now that was actually a very good answer. How dare you skip the lesson? That was great. Yes, so you breathe through the diaphragm, right? Oftentimes, the image of breath is only mouth, nose to lungs, right? That is what we imagine when we breathe. Breathe in, fill up the lungs, breathe out, it goes out. Hack number two, when you're feeling anxious, only imagine that the breath comes from here is going to produce a shallow breath, which is going to exacerbate your anxiety, right? If you're like, I need to breathe, that's actually going to increase your heart rate. So what we're going to do is we're going to recenter where we imagine we breathe from, which is including the lungs and the diaphragm and the belly. And I'm going to put this camera down so you can see. And it's going to be a place that is about 2 centimeters below the belly button, right here. This is where we breathe from. We call this at Fearless Communicators the Zorch, Z-O-R-C-H. This is not a medical term, so don't go telling your doctor friends, okay? So imagining you breathe from this place is going to provide a fuller, deeper breath, right? Really imagining the mouth is here. If anyone does yoga or chakra work, it's the second chakra, the chakra of passion and desire, right? So we're going to breathe again. And this time when we breathe, we're going to put our hand on the Zorch and one hand on the chest. And the goal is to fill your hand with the Zorch. Really imagine, boom, that expansion in the belly, okay? And just feel the difference. Breathe in through the nose, feel the Zorch, breathe out through the mouth. One more time, breathe in through the nose and breathe out through the mouth, right? If you're feeling a difference in the breath, give me a little bit of this just so I can see because we're on mute here, right? That fuller breath is really going to get your body in a zone of embodied speaking. The third hack that I'm going to show you on breath is if you're in the moment feeling anxious, you're on stage, you're speaking, you're at work, you're speaking, the key to lowering your heart rate is to breathe out for longer than you breathe in. When you breathe in, your heart rate increases. When you breathe out, your heart rate decreases. I like to do 2, 2, 4. Breathe in for 2, hold for 2, breathe out for 4. But the breathing out should be double the amount of time the breathing in. And that will immediately lower your heart rate when you are speaking. That is something you can employ on the stage. Let's try that together, okay? We're going to breathe in for 2, hold for 2, and breathe out for 4. All right, breathe in, hold, breathe out. Right? Immediately, what your body is doing is it's telling your brain that you're okay. That amygdala really flares up when we're speaking, our fight or flight response. And so your body is letting your brain know that you're safe. So when you're feeling that, do 2, 2, 4. All right? Yes, fabulous. So now we're going to do a little bit of body work just to get our body on the same place as our breath. So we're going to do a body roll down. Okay, so I'm going to explain it to you first, and then we're going to do it together. So right now you can just watch. So standing, you're going to imagine, I'm going to do it from the side here. You're going to imagine there's been a little bit of a weight placed on your head. So what this does is it takes your chin down to your chest, and with your knees being loose, vertebrae by vertebrae, you're going to fall over the waist. Like that, until you're all the way over. And you're going to breathe while you do this. And this is going to be the breath. You're going to breathe in through the nose, and you're going to breathe out on an elongated SH. So it'll sound like this. Like you're telling somebody to be quiet in the library. Okay? So while you're breathing that out, you're going to be going over. And then stay down there. And I'm going to coach you, and then we're going to come back up. All right? So let's breathe in through the nose. Breathe out on an SH. Chin goes to chest. And when you're down there, bounce a little bit. and nod your head up and down and say, yes. And nod your head left and right and say, no. Figure eight your head and say, I don't know. So now on an SH, you're going to reverse the pattern. So you're going to go up slowly until the last thing that comes up is your head. So breathe in and breathe out on an SH. Come up slowly, come up slowly. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. I'm seeing some beautiful elongated bodies. Fabulous. So if somebody wants to come off of mute and share how they're feeling, just a few words of what that body roll does. It can be, or you can put it in the chat, like whatever, but just one or two little reflections or responses about how they're feeling. Mary?
Yeah, I think we're no longer disembodied.
Yes.
We're in our body.
Yes.
Because so many times we're just in our heads. So now we're in our whole body. Yeah.
I love that. We are no longer disembodied. That's a great way of saying that. Melty, I'm seeing. Fabulous. Fabulous. So this is, to me, the best thing to do to combat the epidemic of sitting. Like sitting is the new smoking, right? Like we are in our chairs. A lot of our work is, on the computer, right? And we speak, right? Disembodied, as Mary said, it's up here. And this is the acknowledgement that your body is a part of your instrument in speaking. And also to say that when we speak, there's a feeling of of tightness, right? Okay, I'm here, I'm ready to speak. But actually what the roll down does is it allows you to feel elongated in the body and loose, which is actually the combination you want. Because we don't want to be thinking that we're speaking from a place of constriction. We want to speak from a place of expansion. Right? So this is a great thing to do before you talk, to really get the body loose, but still stand tall, right? It's just remembering I have shoulders, I have hips, I have knees, I have toes. So now that we've done our little body hack, the last hack we'll do is around the voice. This is my favorite one. So we're going to start by just humming in the mouth. And when we hum in the mouth, we're going to look for vibration in the lips. That's the goal. Really feeling the lips, right? And now once our lips are activated, we're going to release our sound on the word ma, M-A-H. So I will show you, and then you can repeat it after me. We're going to hum into a ma, like this. Ma. Everyone try that. Ma. Great. And feel the lips vibrating. Ma. Now forward point when you say it. Ma. Beautiful. Beautiful. Then now we're going to point to 3 places in the room, and we're going to give each point in the room a ma, like this. Ma, ma, ma. Try it out. Lovely. So this is so important because oftentimes, and this is a very much an American thing, but it is a regional thing, it is a global thing. The misconception of speaking authentically means speaking from the back of the neck, right? I'm going to give you an example of what that sounds like, and I'm going to exaggerate for teaching purposes. Hey, how's it going? Okay, so I'm from California, and something that I really love to do is I really like to go outside, and I like to eat oranges. It's really great, and it's really, really fun. Right? So it's like the idea of sounding casual, but this is not great for a few reasons. For vocal health, it's not great because what you're doing is the vocal cords are rubbing together like this, and you can develop what is called vocal nodes. But also, it just requires so much more energy to speak into the room if you start from the back. What the ma does immediately is bring your voice to the front. Everyone try the ma again now that I've said that, just to see what that feels like. Ma. Do we feel how that voice is just a little more forward? And this is great for vocal health and clarity, right? Because it is the most efficient way to use your voice. So for those of you that perhaps are giving TED Talks or that are just talking a lot at work, just doing a few ma before you talk is really going to get your voice in a brighter place, what we call a pingier place, and it'll make you feel more heard and understood. Let's just go off of mute for a second, just so we can hear some mas in the space. Anyone who wants to go off mute?
Ma.
Woo! Beautiful.
Ma.
Ma.
Gorgeous.
Ma.
I love that, Janine. Ma. Lior, that's beautiful. Ma.
Ma.
Those two, three places. We'll point 1, 2, 3. Ma.
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 Fabulous.
So cool.
Fabulous. So I'm going to give a little extra tip because I have some time, if that's okay. This is a little extra bonus dish. We're going to look at 3 places in the mouth, in the face, that hold a lot of tension, right? This idea, one of the biggest ideas I want to impart you with, is we want to leave with the understanding that we're transitioning from speaking from a place of constriction to a place of expansion. So a lot of the work that we're doing, a lot of the hacks, is actually about release. With the body, it's about release. With the voice, it's about release, right? There's tension and then there's release. So we're going to get 3 places in the face that hold tension. And we're going to just give it a little love. The first place is the jaw. So we're going to take our 2 fingers and we're going to massage where the upper and lower jaw intersect. And really let this feel good. Yeah. And then we're just gonna let our jaw be loose and just go. Fabulous. Fabulous. So the second place we're gonna look at is the tongue. Take our 2 thumbs, put them under the chin, and we're gonna massage the base of the tongue that sits right on top of the bottom of the chin. So we're gonna massage right here. For me, the tongue is where I hold the most tension, so this is really important for my work when I speak. Oh, yeah, baby. And now, like a dragon, we're going to breathe hot air. We're going to stick our tongue as far as we can and go, ha. And really stretch the back of the tongue. Ha. Yeah, one more time. Ha. Okay. I'm feeling a little spicy, so I'm going to teach this thing. It's one of the more active things that we do, but it is, for me, my favorite thing that I like to do when I speak. So whatever you feel comfortable with, I'm going to use my hands, but tissue paper or your t-shirt, you're going to hold onto your tongue. I promise there's a point. I promise I have a point to this. You're going to hold onto your tongue like this. And then you're going to speak out loud what you ate for breakfast today. So I ate eggs and coffee. So now take a second and say what you ate. Just speak it to yourself. Nice. I see people holding their tongues. Nice. Okay. Now you're going to announce the numbers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So put your tongue back in your mouth and you're going to announce the numbers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Because I'm not hearing anybody, can somebody either put in the chat or off of mute if they've noticed the difference in their speaking from doing that little exercise?
Yeah, I did. I felt more clear.
Much more clear. That's great. We overuse our tongues so much. And when we do that, we are underusing our articulation muscles. So when you hold the tongue, you're forcing the muscles around the tongue to work, to articulate. So what happens is you are really preparing those muscles for speaking. So if you can make your thoughts clear with the tongue out, by the time you put the tongue back in, you are super sharp. The articulation's great. The pinginess is there. This I always use before I speak or before I act. So the last thing we're going to do is we're going to look at the larynx, which is this tube that runs with the esophagus here. So we're just going to warm up our hands and we're going to give our larynx here a little bit of love. So just run it down, be really gentle with this. I like to hum. Nice. Nice. And so the last thing I'll do is I'll teach one articulation exercise that's going to get those muscles going. So you're going to repeat after me. Topeka, Topeka, Topeka. Bodega, bodega, bodega. Topeka, bodega, Topeka, bodega, Topeka, bodega. Okay. Bodega, Topeka, bodega, Topeka, bodega, Topeka. So let's see if you can go a little faster 5 times. Topeka, bodega, Topeka, bodega, Topeka, bodega, Topeka, bodega, Topeka, bodega. So this tongue twister is going to work wonders. So whenever you're walking down the street, in the shower, and you just go at the speed that feels comfortable for you, eventually you'll be able to speak it faster and faster and faster. When I first did this, I couldn't do it. My tongue had so much tension. And now I feel much more dexterous with it, right? So that's something that you can practice, and over time, you will see your articulation really, really increase. So those are my tips, and I think we'll end it with just a collective breath. Okay, so knees loose, hand on heart, hand on Zorch. And I'm just gonna breathe in through the nose, and a final breathing out through the mouth. Fabulous. So I wanna say a few things before I conclude. First thing I want to do is I want to say thank you. Thank you to this community. Thank you to Camille for having me and for sharing some public speaking knowledge with you all. I'm very honored to be in the space with you. And I also want to say that if you have any curiosity about our work, or if you're having a story that's emerging for you and you're curious about how you want to get it into the world, I'm going to put a link in the chat to my calendar, and we can find some time to talk about ways in which you're curious about speaking and to answer any questions that you might have. I'm happy to give some of my time to this community. And the next thing I want to say is that I mentioned earlier that we have a program called Fearless Fire, where you have 6 people, up to 6 people, give a TED-length talk on a stage in 6 days. And we have our next program coming up. So if you are around on November 16th and would like to join us and to be in the audience, we have it in person and virtually in New York City. I'm going to share the link to register for the event. If this is something that you would like to participate in at some point in the future, I'm also happy to talk about that if you book some time with me. And the last thing I want to say is I want to give a few words about breath. As I said at the beginning of the hacking, breath is at the center of our work. And the Latin root for inspiration, inspirare, means with breath. So when you inspire, you breathe in. When you expire, you breathe out. When you aspire, you rise with breath. So in your journey as speakers, no matter how you decide you want to speak in the world, understand that when you speak, your voice rides your breath. So your speaking is inspiring others. When people take in your voice, you are literally inspiring them. So I want to leave with those words about breath and to say thank you all for having me. Yeah.
Thank you so much. That was amazing. Was that not amazing? I just want to give you, anyone have questions? I want to give 1 or 2 minutes if anyone has any questions. about a program, about a speaking tip, anything at all before we close up? I'm searching through. I don't see anyone. Nope, no questions.
Looks like I explained it so amazingly.
Yeah, this was great, and I feel now I feel relaxed, and I realize, boy, I got to stand up more when I'm talking.
It's important. It's important.
The next thing I'll be looking for is something that raises my computer. Or a standing desk. Yeah, a standing desk, Paul.
Yes.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for being here and sharing your knowledge with our community. It was really fantastic. Awesome. All right. So I want to remind everyone, I have no idea how to go back to, oh, look, like we're both of us there. Oh, I'll remind everyone that we have these master classes every single month, and the next one is November 30th. And I will be your speaker. We were talking about soul-centered choices, especially in your business, but we'll do personal too, because people have been asking me, how do you know that you're working in your purpose and being really authentic in the things that you do? So that's what we were going to be talking about in November. If you are familiar with us, I think every single one of you, the people here, are already in our Facebook community, but just to remind everyone that we do have the Facebook community, to take time to connect, because business is done through relationships and conversation, and get the chance to know each other. We have our own networking group the first Wednesday of every single month. We pull soul cards and we talk about them in little groups. You can come. And Tyson Sharp's group, the Serving Circle, and my group come together and we pull these, and it is so much fun. If you haven't joined us, it is a great time. And then the third Tuesday of every single month, we have Soul Aligned Power Hour, when I'm asking you questions and we are going into small groups just to kind of talk about your experience. This month, I think we talked about Halloween costumes. So, and it's really just to get to know each other at a deeper level than just always giving your 30-second speech. So if you can join us at whatever, you can find all of our information at soulprofessional.com. And I want to thank you guys for joining us today, and hopefully we'll see you during the week. And again, Yonatan, thank you so much for all of your wisdom and sharing your gifts with us in the community.
Thank you. Thank you all, everyone, for joining. And I was saying earlier, I was like, such wonderful, positive energy in this group. So it makes my work very easy.
Thank you. All right. If anyone has any other questions, you can reach me personally and reach out. I am always here to serve. All right. I'm going to turn off the recording. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Yonatan.
Thank you.
Everyone have a great rest of your day.
Thanks very much.